Good morning, lords and ladies of the interwebs, and welcome to this week's Fiberific Live Craft and Chat, where we craft and chat live. Lots of people chatting in the chat. Oh yeah, chatting in the chat before we got started. Dolores, thank you for joining in every week. Having you guys here to chat with while I work on these projects, and we solve the problems of the world and fix YouTube and all the things that we do during these live streams. I couldn't do it without you guys coming in every week and hanging out with me. Absolutely not. Hi Bianca, welcome to the chat. Kathy is in the house. Hello, Kathy. Oh, I want coffee, but it's too close to bedtime. I know those feels. I have my last coffee at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I might have a cup of tea after dinner, but yeah, except for Saturday nights. Saturday nights is a whole different ball game. I got to stay up real late to work to moderate on another live stream, and I have coffee at 9 p.m. That's like the night. Kathy says I must get some decafs for lives. Yeah, that's probably an awesome idea. Yeah. That's a great idea for the later in the evening live chats. Absolutely. Artsog is here and Vampire is here. Hello. And Sandy G, how are you going? So, I mean, we got a new project coming. We've been around the edges of it. There's a word for it. I don't know what the word is. My brain's just like, eh. There's a word for it, where we're just sort of flittering around the edges. We've been hinting at it, discussing it, getting in supplies for it. Well, it's here. It is here. So if you can look, I don't know if you can do it if you're on a mobile, but if you can look in the description, we have some links. And the links are to what I'm going to be using for this project. This is going to be we're gamifying a blanket. Absolutely, we are gamifying a blanket. Hello, Katie. Welcome to the chat, and Claire as well. Oh my gosh, sitting here in the silence, and you go live, and all of a sudden you started talking and scared me up to death. Yeah, I've been working away, and then all of a sudden something's just come booming through, and I'm like, what was that? Okay, so what we are doing is we're going to be, we being me, and if you want to join in, you can absolutely join in. We're gamifying a blanket. We are turning a blanket project into some additional fun, okay? So we're going to be using some dice for working out our random rolls, because as we've discussed in last week's live, or the live before, or they're kind of rolling into one, I can't quite remember which one, we talked about true randomness and what makes something random, and how clusters of the same thing can actually still be random. And when we try to just make it random, it's actually not random. There will be a pattern that will emerge, and you won't realize it till later, and you'll be like, but I was trying to be random, and it's so not random. So I'm getting around that entirely by using dice. Okay, so we will be going with the dice, and they will be our random number generators. I am also with the random number generator. I know you can grab an app for it. I know you can grab use an online tool for it. The program was written by a person, so it's still not actually 100% random. So I don't want any. I want to use the dice. Also, dice are tactile, and I like the dice. So basically, I just like the dice. We're using dice. Okay, so we are making Crochet with Claire's bricks and mortar blanket. In the description, there is a code word that will give you 40% off the PDF pattern. Okay. Claire is being super generous. And so if you don't want to buy the pattern, you don't have to. You can always go and follow the tutorial on YouTube. I like to have a pattern personally. So we've got Claire's pattern. Leanne is also talking about dice here. We have dice. Now I want to jump into my hands down. Do you guys remember how I was like, I ordered some dice? So they arrived. They are here. So I ordered 3 random packs of dice. Okay, so here's my 3 random. I've pulled out my 8s because I need 8s. So these are the 8s that were with the packs. So this is natural 20 dice. This is an Australian dice maker, and these were the packs. Now these colors do it no justice. This one weighs a ton. I don't know what it's made out of. It's not resin, or it's not only resin. But this one weighs an absolute ton, and like this spark, like the packs are totally random. So this one's all sparkly inside, and so is this one. This one feels very, I don't know, I can't think of the word for that one. And this one's very aquamarine-y. And then we've got this one, which is a bit of a marble effect. So this was all one pack. It was $8 for the whole pack. So if you play other dice games, you've got all the dice that you need, okay? You can also buy a random dice bag, okay, which has got more dice in it. I think it's got some multiples. So if you are a D&D roller or something like that, you'll want the extra dice. But for us, I really want this one. And this one here is purple. It's green, but in the middle, it's got like red and purple. This one's a bit plain. It's just yellow with black. And this one's just light green and white. Abby has bags this one because it's her aesthetic. She needs no dice for anything. Okay, so Claire's saying here she has never seen dice with more numbers than 6. There you go. There are like whole dice packs. There's a whole world of dice out there, everybody. So that was the first pack. Then in this pack, we had one that was very similar to the dice that I actually already have, which was kind of cool. And then a really bright purple one, which is a little bit pearlescent. This one's super pearly. I don't know if you can see. The camera's not helping. And then that one's a bit granity, a bit marbly, with the little bits of white whooshed through it. It's a nice bright plain blue one. That one would have been a really good one on camera, but it's the wrong numbers. And just a clear 6-sided, which is so cool. And then our yellow and black, our little bumblebee. So pop that back in there. And then in the last bag, we had Abby's favorite. And then we had the D20, which was just this. I think this is my favorite 20. I like this. I like all of the 20s, right? The 20s are all awesome. But I think this one is my favorite. Just realized I've got like a dull spot on my camera and I don't know why. It's been there for ages. So I'll just bring it over here a little bit. So this is the other 20. And this is our standard 6. I like that the numbers are super big and clear on the 6. That's really helpful. This is our 12, which is all browns and the browns are a bit bronzy. They're like they shimmer. They're so nice. Got another nice big bright green one, which I love, but it's a clear all the way through green one. And oops, come back here you. And then just a plain clear one with white numbers on it. That's our, is that our 8? What is this one? No, that's our 8. Oh, this is our 10. What am I saying? This is our 10. And then we've got our 4 as well. So yeah, which is very pearly. So loving it. Absolutely loving it. Arctic says between RPGs and tabletop wargaming, I should have several tons of dice around here. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to pop that one away. And we're going to pop this one away. I'm going to see how we go with this guy. I will keep this one out because just in case it's just not clear enough, I'll have it handy. And I don't have a favorite bag. Like they came like this, all packaged up. So in like, they're really well priced, $8 Australian plus postage for each one. Totally random. Love it. Absolutely love it. So I've got my little dice. I've got my little dices. Okay. For Claire's blanket, here we go. There is the pattern there. And if you use the code Fiberific all in caps, which is all written in the description, you will get 40% off the PDF pattern. I do need to take some photos and post them in the fun zone. You are right, but I wanted the reveal to be here. So yeah, this is sounding very exciting. I'm actually really excited by it, to be honest. When the idea first sort of got like, I mean, I didn't even come up with it really. I think we all came up with it, and then different things happen in Zoom calls where we got these other ideas, and it was just like it just went, oh my God, this is a thing. And I was going to try and hold it off for another week because I don't have some of the things I want to do perfect yet. But I was like, you know what? We could just get started. We could just get started because 1 week delay, whether you've got your yarn or not, is no biggie, because I won't be working on it off camera. This will be our Fiberific project for a little while, okay? Dolores, I agree with you. Yeah, definitely. Freaky's got to go and do dishes. Well, Freaky, I am very happy that you are doing the jobs that have to be done. That's awesome. $8. We could all make random roll of the dice blanket. Absolutely. Now, one thing I wanted to say is, like, the thing I love about buying the multi-pack of dice, because I know it seems like, why would anyone need this many dice? If you're working on a project that you want to randomize the color and you've only got 6-sided dice, you need 6 colors, right? It's that simple. If you want to, unless you want to double up the colors or whatever, you need to randomize, you need to get the right dice for the right number of colors that you want to work with. So in this pack, you've got a 20-sided. So if you have like a main color plus all of your plus your contrast colors, thank you, Chantel, contrast colors, that's 21 colors. So if you've got a blanket that has 21 colors, you're good to go. If you have a blanket that has 13 colors, you're good to go. Oops, I was confusing myself. I'm like, I've got too many dice here. If you've got a blanket that has 11 colors, because that's a 12-sided dice, this is a 10-sided dice, I'm adding in the extra for the main color, because the main color doesn't need the randomizing. So you've got your 10-sided, you've got the 9-sided, is that right? Hang on a second. So 90, that's, I mean, this is 100 dice, really. It's like 00, but it's 10, and then that's, I can't remember what that one is. That one should be 10 as well. I think they're the same. Oh, they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that one does the 100. That one's just got 1 to 10, which is great. That's your 8-sided, 6-sided, and 4-sided. So you've got all these options for the different numbers of yarns that you have got for your project. So for the project that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be having 8 colors plus a main. So I needed the 8-sided dice. But if you've got more colors, if you are stash busting hard and you've got like, you know, like 12 colors, 13 colors, 20 colors that you want to use, you've still got the options with these dice. The other thing you can always do is roll a couple together. So, you know, for a bit of fun, you could roll them together. So you've pretty well got multiples of most things up, like from 4 and up, I would say. So you can go from there. Never fear, I is here with my morning mocha. Nice. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I'm loving that you doubled down with the dice. Yeah, look, I love dice. And then I was like, I'm going to buy dice because I had a set. What did I do with it? I have a set. Here it is. I have a set I could have totally used. Sorry, that was probably very loud. Same deal, same sort of set with all the different things. I could have totally used it, but I wanted to double down and support. Like, this is an Australian dice maker. I think that's a UK dice maker, but that's a corporation. This is a person who is hand making the dice. So Australian dice maker. Now, in saying that, if you're watching from America, hit Etsy, look up resin dice. Find a local dice maker to you. Sorry, I'm super paranoid about spiders today because I already killed a big scary one in the kitchen that freaked me and Abby out. And then I had the breeze blowing. Anyway, my heart went into my throat. I thought there was a spider on my leg. Okay. Yeah, so support, like, find someone who is local to you. So if you're in Australia, hit up Natural 20. If you're not in Australia, hit Etsy and find a local creator of dice for you so you can have some fun with it. So I'm going to put these aside, throw those back in the bag. And the other thing is I chose the random ones. A, they were only $8. And B, I couldn't choose. There was so many gorgeous sets of dice. I just couldn't choose. So I went random. If you are happy to sacrifice a dice, you could use nail polish to mark each side with a color to match your yarn choices. Then you won't have to think at all. Well, you'd have to absolutely sacrifice the dice because I'm not sure if you can use acetone to clean it off later off a plastic resin. I don't know the answer to that. You'd need to use a non-acetone nail polish, but that's actually a good point as well. Look, I went a bit different. I went a different way than coloring the dice. You'll see in a minute or soon when we roll the dice, you'll see something. So I'm just going to pop those up there, move that aside. Okay, now I have tweaked Claire's pattern up just a little, just to suit myself, just a little. Okay. When I did my test swatch, I had to go over the ends of the blankets. And so the first and the last repeats lost their stitches. And that was doing my head in. And I know for some of you, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. For me, it's a thing. My brain couldn't unsee it. Okay. It was just that simple. My brain couldn't unsee it. I had to fix it. So I've done some math. I've done some Claire's like, what? I added 2 stitches. That's what I did. That's all I've done. I've added 2 stitches and I'm going to end with a single crochet row rather than a double crochet row. That's it. That's all I've done. There's nothing scary. There's nothing I've not been. Yeah. So yeah. I will not be allocating a number to my main color. My main color is every second row. In this pattern, the main color is every second row. I will be randomizing the alternate rows, so the contrast colors. Okay. So I'm now onto the yarn. So if one of the mods or all the mods could throw my maker link into the description, I'm going to talk yarn a little bit. I'm going to grab a color. I've got the Dirty DK, which I'm going to be using. Now, while I was doing my maths on the Dirty DK, I realized something. This Dirty DK comes out a bit more like a worsted than a DK. As a matter of fact, it has the same meterage as Red Heart Super Saver. So it is 200 grams for 333 meters. Red Heart Super Saver is 333 meters for 198 grams. So that is practically the same. So I'm going to be using the Dirty DK. DK for 200 grams, you're probably looking more like 400 to 450 meters. So if you're going to use a different brand of DK, you will need to adjust for that. Now, my measurements, I'm going to be making a single bed width blanket a bit shorter. I want it to be a long throw, is basically like a little bit of an oversized throw. So based on my maths, which we all know is very bad, I'm going to need 3 skeins of my main color plus my contrast colors. Now, because they are 200 gram balls, there's no way I'm going to get through all 200 grams. So I'm going to definitely have leftovers, which I am so sad about. Not at all. Now, I was going to use the white as my contrast, which like I decided against it, and it's somewhere else now. It's not even here. The Angora color as my contrast. I am not going to. I've decided to use the hot pink. So number 7. No, what am I saying? That's not number 7. It's not Parrot. It's Flamingo. Flamingo is the main color for me. I'm going to be using the hot pink Flamingo as my main color. I decided the white was making me sad. Okay, this is the reality of it. I don't like working with white yarn. The white was making me sad. And every time I thought about the blanket, the white really was just like, right? So I'm not using the white. I'm not going to at all. So that means that I have the main color plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my bag. 7 colors. But but you're using an 8-sided dice. Oh my gosh, what are you gonna do when it comes to the number 8? We're gonna vote. When an 8 rolls, we're going to set a poll up as fast as we possibly can to the live chat. And then you are going to vote on which of the 7 colors. So 1 to 7, we'll just do 1 to 7. Which of the colors that you want to have or you think it needs to be in. So, you know, there's a human element. And so make it a bit more fun. And when we roll an 8, it'll be a wild card. We will throw a poll into the chat. We'll give it about 30 seconds. So you've got to be fast. And then you will get to vote. And John says, put me down for a 3 for everything. So you get to vote on what color we will use when we roll an 8. What's wrong with white? Nothing. Nothing's wrong with white. Okay. Like, nothing is wrong with white. I am a grub and I can't keep white clean. And I have greasy hands. So even when I'm working with it, I have like, I just have oily skin. So even when I'm working with it, and even if I keep it away from the pets, and even if I keep it on the table, it's not going to be white. It's going to do that whitish thing, which I don't like. So in the chat, what do you guys think about this plan? So yeah, now I'm going to create a poll. Because the problem is YouTube doesn't let me just save a poll. So I'm going to have to, I'm timing to see how long it takes for me to make one. Oh no, I can only do colors 1. I can only do 4. We're just going to have to do the random poll thing. It only lets me have 4 options in a poll. I want 7 options in a poll. Ugh. Well, that ruined that. We'll have to, so basically you guys are just going to have to spam the numbers into the chat, and I'm just going to have to look and work out which one you guys like the most. Seriously. It's going to, YouTube ruined my fun. I'm going to send them a nasty message. Leanne's, it sounds fun. Sounds like a blast. Very funny. Very funny. I like that, Outsog. Well done. Sounds like fun. This is a great plan. Fun. Yeah, White is asking for trouble. Yep. Great plan. The number or the color? I was thinking the number for speed of creating the poll, but because I'm not going to be able to create the poll now, and then, so yeah, it's, you know, that's frustrating. But we will work it out. There's actually, I'm going to look it up now that I know that I can't. I thought I could do more. I feel so dumb. There was no way to test it. Bianca says, roll the dice again. That's no fun. I want the wild card. I want you involved. I want you, everyone who is here involved. I will work out another way to create a poll, and we may have to share, like it might be an offsite link. So, you know, we may have to do that. I can totally do that. Not for today though. Today we will just do random numbers in the chat. That's if we even roll an 8. Okay. So, you know, that's that. Yes, that's the thing. Just pop whatever color or number that you want in the chat. I will be, I don't think I did it today, but I will be adding into the description what the color name is for each number. I have listed all the colors that I'm using in the description. So what I needed, so yarn wise, let's we'll just go back to the link of the yarn. I can't go all the way up. Can someone throw me my maker link again, please? I'm using 3 rolls of the pink, but I have bought an additional 2 because you guys know me, I'm terrible at the math. And then I will also use the pink on the border if there's enough, if my math is not dreadful, and then just 1 of each of the rest. So there it is. There's this is the link. This is a Fiberific affiliate link. So you guys know the drill with affiliate links. No additional cost to you. So that is great. So if you want to go over and check it out, each of these 200-gram rolls is, I think it's $8.50 Australian. They are similar weight. If you're not in Australia and you want to find an alternative, Red Heart Super Saver is the same meterage. So if you've got a yarn that you like that has the same meterage as Red Heart Super Saver, go that way. Or go random, use whatever yarn you want and do your own mathing. I'm not doing the extra math for you. I'm just pointing that out. So yeah, there's that. Because you don't actually, you know, I'm going to show you. This is the sheet that I used for my mathing to work out where I was at. Now, the yellow things are things that I'm only a little bit certain of. The green things I'm mostly certain of. Okay, so I crocheted up a little sample last night, which is why there's some pink yarn bath. Now, Kate, are you in the chat? Is there a trick to pulling the middles at, like pulling the ends out of the middle of these balls? Because I'm not having success with finding the end. Just saying, because I'm just like just pull out a handful. Like I basically gut the ball is what it boils down to. I'm gutting the ball. John, this isn't DK. So this is the thing. It's called Dirty DK. The meterage on it makes it more a worsted. Am I going to set up a Ravelry page? Kelly, we will discuss it. And if you would like to help me, I would take that help. So Katie, my question, Kate's in the chat, heard my name. My question is there a way to get the ends out of these balls? I'm basically just fingers in and just gutting them is what I'm doing. But I'm sure that's not what we're supposed to be doing because I see other people just going, ooh, single strand. I'm just like, rip out the guts. There we go. Find the end from the guts and then work on it until the guts are gone. That's what I do. So yeah, it's a 4. It's not a 3. It's not a bad thing. It's just be aware of it. So, and this is a lesson for everybody. When you're buying yarn, always check the meterage. That's very bright, Chantel. You can't see that. Always check your meterage. So that will help you work it out a lot more. And I've just been coming from using a lot of special DK, which is an 8-ply, and that is much finer. So I think I worked out that for the special DK, I think it's a light DK, which is like they're both at the opposite ends of the extremes. But yeah, this is technically a DK weight. Okay, all right. The trick is to not go too deep, but it's a 50-50 chance to choose the end of the skein. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, cool. So it's not just me. It's all right. Cool. I'm glad that you have like the same issue. Same issue. Gosh. Vampire says you can't be as bad as have you met me? Like this blanket I was supposed to have enough yarn for. No. Yeah. It's one of those things. Okay. So we've got some choices. Do we want me to start the blanket today and then you guys catch up when you've got your supplies ready? Or do you want me to work on another project today and we chat about this? Net, the ply is not put on the yarn anymore because ply is no longer the international descriptor of the weight of yarn. Are the only countries that put plies on their yarn is Australia and the UK, and I think sometimes New Zealand. So yeah, and plies used to describe the number of ends used to make this yarn. And if I look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This Dirty DK has 5 ends, so it doesn't have the 8 ends. So it's an older descriptor that is no longer relevant in this international age of yarn. So that's why it's not put on yarns anymore. There's actually no international standard for yarn weights. The US have theirs, and because they have the biggest market, theirs seems to be creeping out more. And the UK and Australia have ours. So we just have to, it's like the crochet languages. We just have to switch it around. And and go by the meterage and wraps per inch. They don't change. Another project start next week. I got mine easy peasy. It may have been like I grabbed my tips, stand it on its end, give it a tap. It sort of loosens the middle. Okay. Yeah. Francis says, don't mind either way. Megan says, I think a chat today and start next. I need to wrap my head around it from watching. Okay. Yeah, it's no longer an accurate description. Absolutely. So yeah. Alrighty, so we can talk about a little bit more about, because I agree, like I wanted to have everything ready and I want to start, but I would love for us to all be able to start together. Okay. But I do have other projects. But I will need to, I forgot to bring it in, so I'll have to run out to the lounge room and go and grab it. So I used this last night to do my test. As you can see, I have some yarn buff because I've pulled it out, and it was so nice to crochet, honestly, and it looked so amazing. It looked so amazing. Now, I am a loose crocheter, so when something requires a 4 mil hook, I normally have to go for a 3.5. This says a 4 mil. I've had to go 4.5. Otherwise, the stitches are too tight and it's cardboard for me. So make sure you test it and swatch it and work out the owned ends. It's always best to work out your gauge, especially trying on a new yarn, because like I know Specialty K, I can use a 4 mil, no problems, because I want it softer because theirs is scratchy. This is so not scratchy. But yeah, for me, I needed the 4.5, which felt weird. I normally have to go down a hook size, not up a hook size. So it was kind of cool at the same time. I'm like, sweet as. But yes, Katie says, if you've got any other questions, DM on Insta. Have a fab day. Kate, you have an awesome day. Thanks for jumping in. Hopefully, lots of people can get their yarn sorted. I haven't been for a while, so I gather a blanket is being made. What size blanket? Excellent question, Nettie. I'm going to be making kind of like a largish throw, right? So I'm aiming for, I wrote it down so that I could get the exact measurements. So when I was doing all my weightings and stuff like that, I'm aiming for, without the border, 125 by 160 centimeters. So I didn't write the inches, so someone's going to have to do the math on that one. So it's going to be like, you know, single bed wide, but not quite single bed length, because I still want it for the couch. I don't want it for a bed. Although if I have enough yarn, I may just keep going, truth be told. But my goal is to get it at least that long. Okay. And something else in all my research of this, did you know that an Australian single is a different size than the US single? I'm just saying. So yeah. I'm intrigued about the dice. Can you show us what you did to it? What you'll need to clarify that for me. I didn't do anything. I bought the dice. I didn't do anything to the dice. John, enjoy your Zoom meeting, and we'll catch you next time. Megan says, I haven't tried my maker yarn yet because it will distract me from all the whips I need to finish. I'm not sure if you guys follow me over on my socials. I have a link down there where you can see all my, where you can go and check out my socials. But I've been sharing photos as I finished my Spring Frost cowls done. My mug rug is finished, and I am now onto the border of the fireside blanket, which will be the project I run and grab in a second. So I am so totally, I've got a frog in my throat. I'm just overexcited by this project. Okay. I will explain. Claire has a tutorial with tips on how to find the middle of your skein. The hitting it down has been what I've tried with success. Okay. Oh, Dolores. Okay. Yep. No, I understand now. I understand. So basically, I have set up some technology. All right. I've set up some technology, and this is what will happen. We'll pretend it's time for dice rolling time. We'll move that out of the way. Okay, we're gonna roll our dice. Woohoo! And we rolled up. Oh, you can't even see it. I have to make sure I roll it in the thing. We rolled a 7. There you go. 7. Ugly duckling. So I've set up some technology. And then when I'm working on the main color, I'll have the, hang on, it's not working now. There we go. There's main color. There we go. Main color. So when we roll the dice, we have a 5. So we need to find the 5. There you go. That's what we're going to do. And I'll leave it up there for while I'm crocheting on it so that everyone knows what color I'm working on. And then when it comes time to go back to the main color, I can go back to the main color and then go from there. How does that sound? So no nail polish for me. I went with a Stream Deck instead. So back up to here. So yeah, what do you guys think of that? Do you think that's all right? Nice and clear. Were those pictures clear enough for you? Well, that's the thing. I don't have a graphic yet. I will do. It's on my list of graphics to make. So I've got a couple more things. That's what I was saying. I'm not quite ready, but I could totally run it at a pinch. But so we can bring it up, and I can have it on any of the screens as well. So that I learned some stuff about my live streaming software to make this happen. So much better than nail polish. So I think so. I mean, I hadn't considered nail polish because I would not be willing to risk my brand new dices with the nail polish. But yeah, so I've got the 7 colors and then the random 8 because I didn't want to use the white. Okay, so which means that, you know, when we roll the 8, we'll get the vote now card, and then I'll find a way to make it so we can all vote online where everyone's there. You can click a link, vote for your color, and then I will get the results. I will probably make a survey out of, you know, Google Doc or something very difficult like that. So yeah, because YouTube won't let me have more than 4 choices in a vote. I'm not at all angry. I'm not angry about this at all. Oh, and on the 8, the camera craps out the color saturation, then the net drops. Yeah, live streaming. I mean, that's true. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. Just to be clear, you are making, yes, I am making Claire's bricks and mortar. Well, it says bricks and mortar on the pattern, but it's her Mosaic blanket, which we've got the link for in the description. It's the one that I made the coffee cup cozy out of. That was my little test run to make sure I was happy with it during a live stream. And then go and then randomize it all using the dice, gamified a little that way. But we will be using, yeah. Amelia, I like the idea, but you can only run one survey at a time. So I have to wait for one survey to complete and then the second survey to complete. And then that just takes a long time. So I really do want to speed that up just a little. So we've got the link for Claire's blanket. There we go. Yeah, the link with Claire's blanket and the 40. If you use the code Fiberific, you will get 40% off the PDF pattern, so that you can just do what I'm doing and have the pattern next to me and not have to be having the document open while we're there. So 40% off. It's $5 Australian. So 40% off is going to make it like $3 Australian. So very inexpensive. Again, it's only an issue for today. So I'm going to set up something else that we can do it here in the live stream. Because if like it's going to look weird if you're over in the fun zone and you're not here in the live stream for whatever reason, all of a sudden there's these polls popping up. You're going to be like, what the heck is that? So yeah. Oh, no, that's okay. So if you have just joined us, which, you know, is a possibility, we are going to be gamifying a pattern. So it's Claire's crochet with Claire crochet with Claire mosaic pattern. It is the one that I made last week with the little thing. Kathy, you're Mr. Norton. I want to have words with your Mr. Norton. I think he has his settings way too hot. So yeah. I once watched the live at a faster speed to catch up as I joined late. I only realized once I caught up how angry you sounded on fast speed. Do I sound angry? Oh my gosh, because I do that. I if I'm late to a live, I'll double speed it to catch up. I don't want to miss anything. Game Widow says I won't be joining in. That's all right. You don't need to join in. Now you can join in later. So what the plan will be is after each live stream is over, I will go through the chat and put in the timestamps for the dice rolls. So if you are not on the live stream and you watch the replays, or you want to be involved and can't, may miss a live stream and may not be able to catch up on a replay, if you want to be doing the same dice rolls that I'm doing, which you don't have to, I will be adding in the timestamps. So in a comment or in the description, I'll add it in the description. So you can just click on it. You'll see the dice roll next color and go from there. So yes, we're going to have as many options as available. So I'm using Make a Yarn, Dirty DK. You can use whatever yarn you like, but this is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using, this is the main color. So this is my brain's just totally flaked Flamingo. Flamingo I'm going to be using as the main color. And then I've got these 7 other bright colors, which we will be using for the rest of the blanket. Those that were asking before, Anemone is purple. That's number 3. For those of you that were wondering what number 3 is or what number purple is for your voting, it's number 3. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And the advantage with this sort of blanket is if you do have stash to use up, you can randomly choose, do what I'm doing. I had yarn there, pick the colors, assign them a number, pick a main color, and then go from there. So you don't have to go out and buy anything. You don't have to buy the dice. You don't have to buy the yarn, and you don't have to buy the pattern. There is an option to for the pattern to watch through the instructions on the YouTube channel. So there's ways to do this without adding to your stash or buying anything new. But for me, I think I needed an excuse to buy some new dice. Sorry, not sorry. So now I have lots of new dice. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I also wanted to try out this new yarn and give it a good test run, because it's anti-pilling and it's so squishy. Honestly, it's going to make the most beautiful blanket. I cannot wait, honestly. So if you guys want to give me just a minute, I'm going to pop out and grab my other project that I've been working on. It's just a bird. It's just a bird. It's nothing scary. Louis is asleep on the floor down here, so it's nothing scary. I'm waiting for a courier delivery on a mug. I have a new mug coming. Ooh, it's the StreamYard mug is on its way. So if you guys can bear with, I'm going to pop out and grab a top up on my water, believe it or not, as well as the project. So, yeah. There we go. I'm back. I have my project. Did you guys get up to shenanigans in the chat? 4 Aussies will be in this blanket. Chantel crocheting, Claire's pattern, Katie's yarn, and using natural 20 dice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Angela just got the evil eye. I said, what's the point about not buying new yarn? And then got the evil eye. Yeah, absolutely. Vampire says, Kathy, you may need to tell Norton to allow the site. Yeah, it's called whitelisting. You might need to whitelist it. How many balls of the main color do you think I will need? Okay, so I'm using these 200 gram balls at 333 meters per ball. I think based off my math, which could legitimately be wrong, 3 balls should do the blanket plus an extra ball or 2 for a border. So 6 balls for the main section, and then like 600 gram balls. Oh, hello, pattern for this. My desk is an absolute dumpster fire now. So 3 of the 200 gram balls is what I have that I will be using for this. But think of it a bit like when you've seen all the different things that people are doing with their queens and their other mosaics. You can actually rotate through the colors as well if you don't have a single main color. Okay, where's my end? There's the yarn. There it is. There is the end. All right. Let's free the yarn out of under the blanket. Let's just organize this table. Oh my goodness. Okay. All righty. So this that I'm working on here, that's blurry. I don't know why that's being blurry. Why are you being blurry? We don't like that. I vote that you make it not blurry. Why are you blurry? Just out of curiosity. Anyway, I don't know why it's being blurry, but you don't need to see what I'm doing so much as, where is the end? I had it. There it is. Okay. So you guys know the drill. I don't do people's patterns on camera without permission. But in saying that, this is a granny stitch border, which if you don't know how to do a granny stitch border, then I think you've been living under a rock. So it's basically just granny stitching. It's basically like a big granny stitch square. Who in the chat here has never made a granny stitch project? If they're a crocheter. I understand that not everybody is a crocheter. I really should work more on my queen, or maybe the Charlotte's Universe. Well, maybe you could, and you can use us doing this project as your way to spur you on to finish your projects. It definitely gave me a kick in the pants that I needed, because I really wanted to start this blanket, but with a few less projects on the go. So I finished off the Spring Frost cowl. I finished off all the ends and the border on my mug rug. Artok says, I'm currently making a granny stitch blanket. There you go. Francis says, does it count that I did 40 squares and never joined them together? Look, yes, we will count it for this particular conversation. You don't get to count it as a blanket. You get to count it that you've done granny stitch project. Nettie says, I have never done a granny stitch project. Really? Nettie, are you a crocheter or a knitter? I'm very curious about that. Dolores says, I haven't made a granny square blanket as such, but I've made a blanket that's basically one huge granny square. Yes, that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm at now. So this one here did lots of random, little and big granny squares throughout it. But now it's like I'm doing this bit, but on a much larger scale. I'm just going round and round around the whole outside of it. Kathy says, I've made a granny stripe, but not a granny square. Then you are good as well. Leanne says, I made one recently and it was super relaxing. I did the spin your granny it is what it's called. Love that pattern. It's not the cheapest granny square pattern out there in the world, but it's just so full of so much amazing information and options. And it's kind of like it's not just one project in that pattern. I totally recommend buying that Spin Your Granny pattern. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's just such an awesome pattern. Angela says, I've made single granny square baby blankets. Excellent. Excellent. So yeah, so you can see my I've got no problems with doing this part of the pattern on camera because most crocheters have done something with the granny stitch. So I don't feel like I'm giving away any secrets, any information on this particular project. So I'm going to do it. It's the fine line. It's the fine line for me, but it is on my side of the fine line. So my conscience will allow it. And I know there's plenty of crochet channels out there that are like, if it's a free pattern, it's a free game. They don't ask for permission. They just go ahead and use it because it's a free pattern. They think it's fine. I don't agree with that. But in this particular instance, all the hard stuff or all the specific stuff is done and the outside is just a granny stitch edge. So yes. So I have a question for those of you here in the chat right now. Who will be joining me on this gamifying of a blanket pattern? Just out of curiosity. Knitspin Girl says, I've made Claire's granny stripe blanket. I actually haven't made that blanket yet. I mean to, and then don't. But yeah. All right, up to the little edge. And then we turn. Freaky says, I will, but in the first week of April. Awesome. So you'll be able to catch up or do your own thing. I might be, but I have a bunch of pastels which will look nice, but those colors don't rock me. I understand that. It might be a good one for you to make to give away if you want to get rid of those colors as well. Get them out of your stash and make some more room. Sandy's in. Sandy's bought dice, man. She's jumped on. She's hit natural 20. She's bought herself some dice. She's on board. It's you and me, Sandy. It's you and me. Dolores says, I'll be enjoying watching you, but have a few projects planned that I have to get to. Yeah, I know what that's like. I do. Megan says, it jumped up. I hope I can, if I can work from home and do it sneakily. There you go. Not in the making, but you're not going to stop me voting and watching each week. Absolutely. And that's the thing. Even if you're not making, you can totally still vote. Like, I'm not going to be like, well, you don't get a vote because you're not making the blanket. I'm not doing any of that. That's crap. Holly wants to. Bub says busy working on a project at the moment. Well, what we're going to be doing is setting all the dice rolls up as points to skip to in the videos so that you can go back and watch the replay. So if you can't start now and you still want to do the same dice roll numbers, now obviously I'm going to have my little graphics up with my colors, but you'll have to have whatever you're doing for your colors. And just because I've chosen, like, even if you buy these exact yarns from Maker, you could have a different main color, put your colors in a different order. We could all end up with totally different projects using exactly the same yarn, which could just be so phenomenal to see as well. Kathy says, I only have 5 blankets on the go. Kathy has 5 blankets on the go, but we'll be watching. That's awesome. I will probably just to use up some yarn. The stash is out of control. I think it would be an awesome stash busting project. And because you aren't deciding which of the colors to use, if you've got colors you just need to get rid of, and you keep going, I don't like that color, I'm going to use it for something else. This is the project. Let it match tonally to the other colors in the project. and then go hard. This is the project to use up those colors or those things in your stash that have just been kind of. Am I the only one who has some dread stash? Like, oh, I need to use that. I've got dread stash, and it's just like, I bought it, I paid for it, it cost me cash money. I don't want to bin it. I'm sure I'll find a use for it, but right now, none of the projects I'm working on it will work for. So I call it dread stash. And so it's sad when part of your stash brings you dread. Let's make a dread stash blanket. If you have dread stash, dig it out and work out a way to gamify it so that your dread stash becomes your fun stash. I will, but it'll start late as most of the yarn is packed to move as soon as we get to the green light on the home loan. Fantastic. Kelly Pole has dread stash. Kelly, I'm so happy I'm not alone in dread stash. Yeah, it makes me feel better to know I'm not alone in dread stash. So yeah, coffee time. Sorry, what do you mean by dread stash? For me, Sally, and it could mean something different to everybody. For me, dread stash is stuff I've got in my stash that is like taking up space, but I don't like, none of my projects is ever like right for it. And it's starting to get to the point where it's like, well, what am I going to do with this? And every time I see it, it creates a bit of dread. Like, oh, it's got like, oh, I should just use this for something. So yes, I was late here. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, yeah, it's about an hour in. I'll do a recap. I will do a recap of what the plan is for our gamified blanket in my brain, and we probably need to come up with a name with it, but I'm calling it the Math Rocks Project. So if we need to come up with a better name, or if you guys are happy with the Math Rocks Project, yeah. Oh, here we go. I have an entire 50-liter container of shame stuffed full of Muppet roadkill yarns. I don't know if roadkill yarn, it would work for this, right? Like if you had like a smooth, a smooth yarn as your main, and then your Muppet murders for your contrasts, or at least one or two of your contrasts, you could totally use up some of your Muppet murder. Okay, so Stacey, what we're doing, so I'm going to go back to my normal camera. See, now that I've got my buttons set up for eCam, I don't have this switch over set up like I used to. I need to do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to be using 7 colors plus a main color. Okay, I will be using an 8-sided dice, which I put away. I shall get it out because it's very cute. Come out. Oh, it's not out. It's not in the bag. I've lost it. I have 8-sided dice that I have purchased. I actually bought an entire mixed bag of gaming dice. So I've got all different size dice. So depending on the project that you want, you've got your 6-sided, your 4-sided, your 8, your 9, your 10, your 12, and your 20. So I'm using 7 colors plus a main color. But when we roll an 8, it is a random. It is a wild card. So the chat will get to vote on what color I use for the 8th for when we roll 8s. So there'll be that. So as we roll the dice, I'll bring on screen what the color is that we got. I did steal all the photos from Katie's website, by the way. Sorry, Katie. Probably should have asked. And we'll roll the dice. So we'll have the pink. This is going to be my main color. I'll be using the Flamingo as my main color. And then I'll be using 7 other colors. And they've all been assigned a number for a dice roll. And we'll go from there. Does that help? I hope that helps. I tend to gift my dread stash. Yeah, get it out of the house so it is not dreadful. I have a stash wall, a stash floor, and a stash table. I'm planning charity knits around my deep stash. Is that your dread stash or your deep stash? Sally's like, oh, I definitely have that. I definitely have dread stash. Okay. I call that orphan yarn. See, for me, orphan yarn is where I just have a single skein of something. It doesn't have a family. It's on its own. Kathy Bragg shared a beautiful stash buster bricks and mortar over in the fun zone. She did, and she's used purple as her main color, and that is what inspired me that I didn't have to use the white. The white is a dread color for me. So I was just like, it's going to be the color I use the most. Oh my God. And then Kathy's was the purple, and I'm like, I don't have to use the white. I mean, I'll have to order more yarn, but I don't have to use the white. So I placed an order last night. So I have in the description below the viewing screen, you might need to click the more or see more or whatever it says now. They keep changing the word. And there is a link for Claire's pattern with a 40% discount code. There is a link to the Maker Yarn website, and there is a link to Natural 20 Dice Company, and they're all Australian companies. So if you're in Australia, all of this is local to you. So quite often we have a problem in Australia where nothing is local. That's one of the reasons why the Maker Store started importing yarn, why Katie started making her yarn company, and contacting mills and getting yarn made and all this stuff, was because she couldn't get the yarn she wanted to use in Australia. She always had to order it from overseas. So now we can order it from her because she's done the good job. Now, if the colors aren't your colors, as Kate makes sales, she is putting that money into expanding her range. So the more she sells, the more colors options that we'll get in the future. I'm just having a look. I think my chat scrolled back. It did. That's terrible. Stacey, sounds good. I'll look in my stash. And while I'm using 7 colors, you don't have to. If you buy the dice pack, you could get a roll of 4, like have the 4 colors if you want, plus your main color. You could have, so we've got the 4, the 6, the 8, 9, 10. The 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20 sided dice. So add your extra color for your main color, and that's how many colors you could easily use just using this dice method. Oh, is this an idea? So instead of Math Rocks, call it the Triple C blanket? See, wouldn't that confuse people, like corner to corner, because it's already got the 2 C's? And then I feel like there's no maker. And you know, I suppose it's Claire's pattern and my video, and you could possibly be using Maker Yarn. Yep. I'm still partial to Math Rocks, the Math Rocks project, or the Math Rocks crochet project. Because the other thing is, while I'm using Claire's pattern, and I think that everyone should, if you've got a pattern that you need to randomize, you could use dice for that. Oh, change camera angle. Changing camera angle. So does anybody have any questions about the upcoming project? Because I'll have to answer. And do you guys realize we've kept on topic for like an hour, and I feel weird. So we need to go off topic just for a little bit. Okay? Because it feels weird. Did you guys hear YouTube has changed its monetization policy on swear words yet again? So they had a policy that they brought out in November, which was if you said some swear words in your first 7 seconds of your video, you were automatically demonetized. And a lot of channels basically were just like, what the F? No, they were like, oh, what? No, because there's some communities that have got like a bit of a sweary name, you know, and so it's like, hey, what's up, beautiful? Like, go and watch a Philip DeFranco video. He's like a news channel and it does phenomenal stuff, but his community is called a swear word. And he said, you know, that and like he's not the only one. So what they've done is they've adjusted it. So there's words that you can say now. So more of your gentler swears. Like not the bad ones. Like for some people, all swears are bad, right? But there's a couple of real bad swear words. If you say those, you're going to get limited monetization. It's that simple. If you put them in your thumbnail, if you put them in your description, limited monetization. It's just what's going to happen. But if you just say damn or the S word, I know I'm allowed to say it. I can't even do it like intentionally. It's so funny. I was watching the YouTube staffer and like they said the words like this, and this are okay. This and this are not. And it was so like I was squirming like a 10-year-old little boy, like the teacher swore. And it was so weird. It was so weird. But I do think yeah, it's they definitely sorted it out a little bit, made it a little bit more like especially if you just accidentally drop the S word, people are being demonetized, like having an entire video demonetized just because it was they dropped one word. So it's definitely I think it's a good thing because like even in these streams I've dropped the occasional word and I am like, oh no, I hope I don't get demonetized, because that goes through my brain anyway. But yeah, so it is, noble sons born out of wedlock. That's right. That's exactly what he calls his community. And it's just what they do. And I swear. I don't swear on camera, but I swear in real life and when I'm having conversations with people. And so I think sometimes they're a little bit surprised. But I'm a time and a place kind of person. So this is not the time nor the place, for at least for me anyway. It's yeah. We come up with better ones, don't we, Leanne? Butt faces. Like we come up with our own words and make it fun. Okay. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting it's definitely an interesting one that it was surprising that they actually did a walk back on a policy because they don't usually, and they really did. They walked it back hard, and it's like as of last week, and they're actually going back and reviewing all of the videos that were demonetized based on that policy and remonetizing them. I mean, they've lost 6 months worth of income off those videos, but at least they won't lose any future income. So yeah, interesting times when YouTube does a walk back. So this, look, it's because I'm on camera and it's like recorded for posterity. I don't want to swear. Thank you. I appreciate this. I too could come up with a plethora of examples of naughty words, but I will not. Leanne says it does make me snigger when you let one slip here. And that's the thing. Like, I sniggered. I was like, I run this other channel and I'm a grown adult. Like, and they're a grown adult. But because I'm not used to hearing them swear, that and they pronounced it very clearly. This is very fun. So it's a YouTube Creator Insiders channel. It's the latest video there. And yeah, it was really funny watching Connor like explain it all. What's in our cup? So someone had a question. Amelia asked us, what tea do you have today? I don't have tea today. I've got some like cold coffee. It's cold now. Air conditioner's been blowing straight at the cup. Cold coffee, and I have water. What have you guys got in your cups? Please tell me it's more interesting than cold coffee or water. I know some of you are on different time zones. For me, it is only 11 o'clock in the morning. A dash early for me to have interesting things in my cup. So, yeah. I'm drinking water from Francis. Like we're having a heat wave here in Queensland, so I'm trying to be very good and make sure I am hydrating. Yeah, Artex's the same. Having water. Kathy's boring water. Just water today. Must stay hydrated. Caramel brownie tea. What? What is this? I need to try that one. Iced coffee with sugar-free Irish cream flavoring. I don't know how I feel about those. I don't know. Black iced tea. Nice. Actually, I should make a batch of iced tea. I haven't made one in a while. Oh, Bub's cup's empty. Bub, you need to rectify this. Hot tea. It's 70 degrees where Molly is. 17 degrees where Molly is. So fair enough. Vampire says, alas, just water, somewhat dehydrated. Yeah, it's hot, man. It's hot. Freaky says, my nose is in the cup with every sip of tea, but soon it will be flavored hot chocolate. Nice. Leanne says, I do have water, but I did put a slither or a sliver of fresh lime in it. I've got fresh lemon off the tree. I could probably do that. I could make my water interesting. I'm actually thinking I'm going to make up a big, like 2-liter container of iced tea. I make my iced tea probably differently than most people do. And I'm going to tell you how I make my iced tea because I don't like sweet things when I'm drinking a lot of the time, she says, as she thinks about the drink she had last night, which was sweet. But I don't add sugar to my tea or coffee. I don't drink cordial very often unless I'm shaking, and then obviously I need something more than water. I will have the occasional Gatorade. But how I make my iced tea is I have a 2-liter fridge jug thing. It's like a Tupperware one. And I put in like 2 or 3 like big heaped tablespoons of tea, like actual like flavored tea, like fruit teas or something like that in there. And then I will a quarter fill it with hot water. I will throw in a tablespoon of sugar, which is, it always feels weird when I'm watching myself do this. I've put in a tablespoon of sugar, sometimes 2, depends on the tea. If it's not very fruity, I'll throw in a second tablespoon of sugar. Or I'll omit the sugar and put in a big squeeze, like squeeze of honey. My honey's in a squeezable bottle. It's not in a glass jar. I'm not crushing glass into my cup. Then I let it do its thing, and then I just fill it up with cold water and put it in the fridge. That's what I do. I leave the tea in there and everything. I don't take it out. I've got on my drink thing, it's got like a little strainer for the top. So I put the little strainer in, and then when I pour it out, I don't get the tea bits. I get the yummy tea, and it keeps drawing, and it doesn't go bitter because I've let it go cold. So that's it. That's how I do it. Not that anyone, is going to write that down, but that's what I do. You're right. Sliver would be better. I have a Bickford's peach iced tea cordial, which I'll have later today. That's actually a really nice one. I've had that before. I've got some Bickfords in the cupboard. I wonder which one I've got. I know I get the lime cordial because I use in some of my cocktails. When I'm making the cocktails up, I like the good Bickford's lime cordial, or I get the Schweppes lime cordial. I like that one as well. But they're not just for like drinking, if that makes any sense. I don't just make up a cup of Schweppes lime cordial. I add Schweppes lime cordial to lemon lime and bitters, or to usually lemon lime and bitters, really. Water with mint leaves. Yeah, that is good. My mint died. I'm gonna have to grow some more. Probably put it somewhere where it can get water, because mint is a thirsty plant. It likes to have the drinks, and maybe not in full sun. Where it was full sun, didn't get regularly watered. So like all the no-nos, like, oh, let's see if we can make mint grow exactly where it shouldn't ever grow or survive. The answer is I failed. It didn't grow where it shouldn't grow. So yeah, because I don't like to let mint out of a pot. Like some people are like, just plant it under your tap. When I was a kid, my parents did that, and it was crazy. And where that one was fine was because it was like this cut in a concrete. So like the tap was at the side of the house. The concrete path went right up to the side of the house, but someone had cut out a little section. I think like, oh, we're not going to put a grate or a drain there, but we just don't want it to hit the concrete and splash everywhere. So we'll let it hit the dirt instead. So mum and dad planted mint in that. That survived really well there. And it couldn't escape too far. But they did it at another house we were in, where the back tap was just onto the back lawn out the back of the house. There was no path. And I can tell you, when the lawnmower hits the mint, it smells good, because it was just growing through the lawn. Yeah, your mint probably needs a real big drink. It's such a thirsty plant. Amelia says fresh mint is great. It's a treat at a friend's place. I wish I could grow it. I used to grow it, and like whenever I made like garden salad, I would toss in fresh mint, fresh basil, fresh oregano in with like the lettuce and the tomatoes, and it just lifts the salad. I find garden salads very boring unless there's some sort of herbage in there. Stacey says my chooks ate my mint. My chooks ate my cotton, the stinkers. I don't have chooks anymore. So I could probably try growing cotton again. I've got an entire thing of green cotton seeds somebody's it's written on the packaging and my brain's not giving me the name, but I have like a pile, and I could totally grow like a pile of cotton. And they grow like little hibiscus flowers. They're beautiful. They're so cute. So I could do the whole lot. My mum planted mint years ago, and now we can't get rid of it. It's kind of taking over. Yeah, mint does that. It's either dead or, atrophied. They're your choices. There's no in between. It's either dry and crumbly and dead, or it's atrophied. Oops. I could probably remove that comment now. Yes. So this blanket has to have 22 rounds put on the outside of it. And I was originally like, oh man, I've got tons of this blue. I should probably do another row of it. But then I've realized, what if we get to the end and I don't have an entire row of any of those other colors because the blanket's so big that I, excised it up. I can always add in extra rows at the end, right? I could do that. Sure. Especially the blue. I think my dad would like the blue. So this blanket's going to my dad. He's waited very patiently. I showed it to him at Christmas. Hey, Dad, this is what I'll be sending you once it's finished. And then he's been waiting very patiently. But he lives in central Queensland where it's really freaking hot. So he's not exactly worrying about not having a blanket right now. But he did message me the other day, and he was wondering if he would have it by July because he thinks it'll be a bit colder by then. And I was just like, slap in the face, like, yes, I'll have it done by July, which is also his birthday. So he's basically asking, will his Christmas present be ready in time for his birthday? And so I was just like, yeah, it'll be ready. So I want to get it shipped off well before July, which, all going well, it'll be shipped off before the end of April. Where are we now? We're at the early March, maybe early April. I love mint, but I can't have it anywhere as hubby is allergic to mint. Oh no, that's terrible. Oh, that's a shame. I make fresh spring rolls, and I like to put mint in the fresh spring rolls, like especially like some Thai mint or something like that, and just throw that in there. Just one leaf, bloop, right in the middle. It's very nice. Some people are like, you should shred it up with the lettuce. I'm like, I just like to have a whole leaf because I slack. Francis says, I'm from an Italian background and I cannot get used to the way Australians say oregano. Like, do Italians say oregano as well? I know Americans say oregano. But no, I say oregano because that's how my mum taught me to say it. So that's how I say it. Which is kind of weird considering my mum's heritage. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. We do say things differently. There are words like this in our language that we steal from other languages that we just say however the heck we want. Where are we at? It feels like I've been working on this round for some time. But I've got to remind myself, it's not a little tiny square, it's a blanket. We're going around the outside of a blanket. It's a little blanket. It's a little knee rug. And this one's going to be really tiny. And so I'm kind of worried that Dad's going to be like, I waited all this time and it kind of covers my toes, but nothing else. So I'm really hoping that I have enough leftover yarn at the end to be able to sort of boost it out a bit. Nettie says, to answer your question about my crochet and granny squares, I have not done a lot of crochet, and what I've done was specific things. Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. I actually don't recommend beginners do granny squares. They should work on other stitches, because people are like, granny squares are so easy. And it's just like, okay. Very first project that you ever do needs slip knot, chains. You need to do trebles or double crochets. And quite often you also need to know how to change colors, and you need to know how to turn your work. There's just a lot of like little skills in granny squares that I don't put into my beginner classes. I don't put color changing into my beginner classes. I show them how to change yarn just in case the yarn snaps or breaks, but color changing is a different beast. So yeah. What do you guys think? What was your first crochet? Was it a granny square? Because I mean, I know a lot of people's first crochet was granny squares. My first crochet was squares, but not granny squares. They were like treble squares. Yeah. Amelia says, that's good to hear. I had so much trouble starting to crochet with granny squares. Yeah, there's a lot of skills. Pearly, it is so good to see you. It's been ages since we've seen you in the live. We've been chatting about, so we'll have a little recap. We've been chatting about an upcoming project that we're going to start next week, which will be gamifying a crochet blanket. I don't know what I did there. Let's try again. Gamifying a crochet blanket with dice rolling. It's going to be so fun. Let's have a look here. I think mine was a simple jumper. Yeah. That's got a lot of skills as well. But but if you start at the bottom, you've got a lot of time to get ready to do sleeves and what have you. Leanne's was a granny square. My first crochet, I don't remember, but I know it wasn't a granny square. Yeah, there you go. Granny squares, I still can't do much more than that. I think, honestly, if you can do a granny square, you can do anything in crochet. And I think maybe that's why people teach people granny squares, because, hey, you've done a granny square. You've already done color changing, increasing shapes and how to increase stitches and, all that sort of stuff. It could be one of those things. It's like when people teach someone how to knit socks as their first project. It's like, well, you knit a sock. My first project was a double crochet lap blanket. Yeah. Sally's was a Claire's easy rib hat. Wow, that's a cool one for a first one. Pearly says, holidays, yay. And I haven't crocheted for years. That's all right. So this particular project that we're going to be working on, it has a main color and then a contrast color every second row. And so if you can find a knit pattern that does something like that, like something that stripes or something, and then we could do it the same way, because I understand not everyone crochets. Molly, I started 4 round solid circles. Awesome. But that might make 4 round, that would make like little washes. I started by doing baby clothing. I learned as a child on a single square blanket. Yeah, isn't that interesting? We all learned something a little bit different to start with. But now everyone's crocheting blankets and tops and things. Has anyone made Claire's summer top, the green one that she was wearing the other week? I've been looking at it and I'm like, I wonder if I held 2 strands of linen together, how that would look. So I've got some grey linen that needs a project. Not that I'm starting another new project anytime soon. I'm starting a new project next week, but I'm not starting another new project. So yeah. Yeah. Is this the last side of this blanket of this color? Because I'd like something a bit brighter, pretty please. What's the next gorse? I mean, it's brighter. Gorse was the color. It was not my favorite. Oh, Nettie, I'm not going to be able to go. I found out from my husband that weekend we're going away to his cousin's 50th birthday. So I'm going to have to skip it and miss it, which is such a shame. But yeah. And then the weekend before is my husband's birthday, which he probably wouldn't appreciate if I told you guys how old he is, because he's feeling a bit tender about it. I'm like, whatever. If it makes you feel any better, I thought I was there already and that you were older. Oh my gosh. Well, you do need a project or two off camera. Look, I do. Currently it's this one. So I would like to finish this one. And then the next one I want to finish is my Star Wars blanket. So I'm trying to have on blankets and off blankets. Yeah, Nettie, I went to Bornhofen. I've been about 5 or 6 times to that retreat. It's such a good retreat. It's so much fun. I just haven't been in the last few years. That's all. Ruth has dropped her member for 16 months. Members chat. Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate you being here. You guys who are members on the channel, you make it so that I don't stress. I mean, if my camera dies, I'll stress. Okay, that's legit. That's basically laptop money right there. Okay, so we all have our fingers crossed camera doesn't die. But basically anything else I can replace instantly because of channel members who support every single month, who make it so that I've got money set aside so that I can buy a new light if a light goes out. I can pick up a new mic. Like I had to pick up this new mic when I moved the office inside because all the household noise was being picked up by the other mic. And it was, you guys probably didn't notice it, but it frustrated me. And it was just like, I had this space and I had, somewhere I could do this that was quieter. And now I don't. Now all the noise is being picked up. So my brain was in like frustration mode. Being able to buy this and the equipment to connect it to a computer took so much stress out of everything. Just being able to just go buy it and it's done, because I knew that I had the support of channel members who could, that money was just, and the same for those over on Patreon, that the Patreon money and the members money all gets used for gear and upgrading and making sure when my laptop died, well, it was very slowly dying at the end of last year, I was able to buy a new computer. So that's all members being amazing. And those of you that aren't members that watch the videos all the way through and rewatch, all of that helps as well. So I'm super grateful to all of you. Megan says, I learned from YouTube about 10 years ago, granny squares was the first thing that she learned. Wow. Knitspin Girls is going to Bornhofen. If you are local to Brisbane and you want to hit a spinning camp, Bornhofen is a Gold Coast camp that runs every year, and it's an awesome spinning camp. Oh, look at all these memberships. Leanne says, 16 months in the coffee clutch, enjoyed all 16 months. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Oh, happy to lend support for my continued enjoyment. That's right. You're future-proofing. You guys are future-proofing and making it so that, do you want to know something? I'll tell you something. So with all the changes that I've been doing around here, I've had some different work commitments that have had to take different days that I didn't previously had available and things like that. And someone was like, oh, can you do, 10 a.m. on a Thursday? And I was like, nope. What about 11 a.m. on a Thursday? I'm like, nope, sorry. Thursday mornings are totally out. And they're like, what about next Thursday? And I'm like, no. Thursday mornings are totally out. I have a commitment, an ongoing engagement. So you guys will have to just choose another day. So yeah, so that's been like, you guys have my Thursdays. It's that simple. Oh, Net's going to be running the sandwich workshop. The sandwich workshop is so much fun. So everyone brings some fiber, and it's all very carefully sorted and laid out, and then run through drum cutters, and everyone gets a portion. And so everyone gets a bit of everyone's fluff. It's so fun. And it makes the most crazy bats. Francis learnt to crochet 40 years ago. I first crocheted about, how old am I again? The calculator. Abby laughed at me the other day because I had to sit down and work it out. Because I forget how old I am. Calculator. Shush. I can feel you all judging me. Okay. 33 years ago, I learned to crochet. Shh, Sally, what are you doing? I'm not there yet. It's later in the year I'll be there. I'm not there now. I'm not there yet. Shh. Yeah, you'll have to bring some fluffs. Absolutely. There's normally like on the camp forms, they normally recommend an amount to bring to share. Francis says, I forgot how old I am too. Once I hit 50, I stopped bothering to count. Yeah, I did that with 40. Yeah, Abby likes to remind me, Stacey. Abby likes to remind me exactly how old I am. But in saying that, I thought I was 48. Abby and Tim and I, because I thought it was my husband's 50th this year. And he was horrified. He was like, oh my God, no, not yet. I think I'm like, whatever, I hit 50, I hit 50. But I think for him, it's a thing in his brain that once he hits 50, it's life changes or something like that. Whereas I'm like, yeah, whatever, 50's 50. And also, you know, I've got broken bits. I feel my age. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Sal says it's my hubby's 50th this year. Yeah, you got to do something good. You got to have something fun. Because that was the thing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to plan a dinner and a party and all this. And then I'm like, 48, not doing any of that. Nope. Have a cake. Here you go. You're not quite old enough for fun times yet. Oh, Leanne says we're having some light rain. Send it down. We need to fill our water tank. Oh man, we could use some rain. I mean, we don't have water tanks to fill. So I hope you get enough to fill your tank, but I definitely could use something to you know, get some of the dust out of the air. Just enough rain to get the dust out of the air, because that really affects me. It affects my throat and my breathing when it starts getting dry. In saying that, it's humid. It's so humid. But it's dusty and humid. How could it be dusty and humid? So, is there scientists in the chat here today? How can we have dusty air and humid air at the same time? Because that's not fair. And I think that should be against laws. That should be against nature. That's what natural order of things. Yes. Stacey says, I always think I'm older than I am. Me too. I told my adult kids, do it all before you're 50. Blue face, smiling. Yeah, look, you know, there's definitely some things I'd like to get done before I'm 50, and running out of time on that goal. But it's also an arbitrary goal. So, you know, 50, like when people were 50 30 years ago, 50 was older than what 50 is now. Does that make any sense? 50 years, like you look at the women in the magazines that were in their 20s and 30s, like compared to women who are in their 20s and 30s now, people have changed. They've changed their diets, they've changed their activity, they've changed lots of things. Lisby is back. Silly 18-year-old tiny dog has hurt her leg. Oh no. I hope it's just like she has a little lay down, a little rest and feels better. Snowy used to do that every now and again. I hope it's not anything sort of vet required or permanent, especially at 18. So next week, peeps, bring your yarn. If you've got dice and you want to make your own dice rolls, bring your dice. Where are we? What date are we at? Okay, yep. And next Thursday night is also Caffeinated Crafters, so it'll be a big discussion night. Pearly says, I am over 50 and I do not feel old, except when I'm having hot flushes. Yeah, that would remind you, wouldn't it? You'd just be like, oh, hi, you again. Right, that's right. That's because my body has decided it's time. I think it's annoying. Maru, welcome to the chat. Glad to have caught this live. Been missing a few of them, which has made me a bit sad. Well, you are here now. You have made it to the live. I mean, technically the thumbnail's correct. You guys haven't seen me work on this project, but this is not the new project that we were talking about in the thumbnail. Ha ha ha. Tricks. Is that clickbait? Technically not. It's legit bait. I had a haircut yesterday. I wanted a shaggy look. Think Noel Fielding. Instead, she's giving me an old lady short hair. Oh, no. Oh, no. Go to another hairdresser and get it fixed up. Absolutely. Lisby says, my body stopped working well 10 years before I gave it permission. Yeah. My mother tried to teach me crochet and it was a fail. She made me just work on a long chain. Then in my 20s, my landlady taught me by making a small square first so I had something to hold. Oh, absolutely. I've done the instructional for the long chain. But we had a project to use the chain for. So I think that makes a difference as well, because when you're just making a chain for the sake of making a chain, it's like, oh, so annoying. I'm bored now. I'm legit bored. But when you know, it's like, okay, I just got to get to the end of this 50-gram ball because then we're going to make the thing with the chain. It's different. Uh-oh, what's Vampires done? Oh, I'm in my 40s, but my bones age faster because of poor diet growing up. Yep, that never helps. And Vampire, Outsog still loves you, Vampire. Here you go. Greater than 3. What do you make out of a chain? I make a necklace. A big, chunky, awesome necklace. I'm just trying to think where the crate is that's got all my beginner workshop stuff, because I've got some in there. I'm just thinking. Give me a second. I think I know where it is. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Well, 3 things happened. 1, I couldn't find the crate. 2, Louis got outside, so I have to keep an ear out now. And 3, I kicked my toe on a chair. So now I'm sad. And Louis is probably going to bark at the gate or something. I'm going to have to run out and get him because he accidentally got outside. Oh, it's barking right now. All right, hang on. I'm back again, but I'm happy this time. I think I needed that. So 3 things that happened this time is when Louis started barking, which I don't know if you guys could hear him, but he started barking. But instead of running from where he was in the backyard to the front yard, he came in and got me and started barking at the front door. So I was able to lock him in the house, go out to the gate because the courier arrived. I have some goodies. I'm just double checking this is mine. Yes, it is. I got confused for a second there because it's like it's coming from Melbourne, except this thing that I think this should be should not be coming from Melbourne. It came from the US, but it looks like it gets relabeled. Let me in. Let me in. Oh, come on. Ha ha ha. I wanted to open the bottom of the box because all my address label is on the top. Wow. You know, when they say it's like a jumbo mug and you're like, oh yeah, jumbo mug. Yep, cool, cool. I think this is a legit jumbo mug. This mug is enormous. Wow. I think this will hold like 2 cups of coffee. It's as big as my head. That's not as big as my head. This is a really big coffee cup. I'm going to need a bigger spot for it on my shelf. It's basically a soup mug. It's a legit jumbo mug. It's a legit jumbo mug. Okay, here we go. You can compare it. Standard coffee cup. Like, you know, like it's you know, standard. StreamYard mug. Oh, wow. That's huge. cup. That's so cool. Awesome. So glad it arrived. Needs a good wash. That's awesome. Okay. Now, what's been going on in the chat? Lots of comments have happened while I wasn't here. Parcels. It's not a Nick mug, but Nick has one of those mugs. But does it look that big in Nick's hands? No, it doesn't. I'm like, I'm gonna have to check with Nick. Like, is it just that? Because I've met Nick in real life. He is a very tall man, and to get in the same selfie with me, he had to bend down. Like, hello. Like had to fully bend his whole body to fit his head near my head because he's very tall. Also, I'm exceptionally short. But yeah, it's the same mug that he uses. So, because that stream that he does on the Saturday night is sponsored by StreamYard. So yeah. So it's a coffee and a half for really. I think it's more like 2 coffees. I'm going to measure it out later. It's a 15-ounce cup. If that helps anybody, doesn't really help me. Like, what's a standard cup size? I don't know. So yeah, but I am going to have to rearrange my coffee cup shelf. There's no way it can fit. I thought I was slipping in another small cup, but yeah. Oops. We're nearly at the corner. Holly says a cup, like, so a normal coffee cup is 800, is 8 ounces, and this one's 15. So yeah, it's nearly 2 cups of coffee. Wow. Okay. That's a big cup. I think that's going to be more of a soup cup for me than a coffee cup. Because, like, I'm going to have to, like, fill it 3 times with my coffee machine. I'll have to make myself weaker coffees because I'll be drinking them for longer. Or I could do what other people do and put water in it because it's too much for coffee. That's it. That's enormous. That's much larger than I was anticipating. We're coming up to the corner. Okay. Well, anybody else excited for next week when we start our blanket? I'm so excited. I was kind of hoping to start it today, but at the same time, there's a couple of little things I want to do to get it already. Like, I want to find the ends on all those skeins of yarn and, you know, like, find the ends first so that I can at least have them poking out of the bag so that I can work on them. I did order the additional pink skeins of Flamingo last night. So hopefully they'll arrive soon. But because I've got a whole skein of pink already, it's not going to delay the start. So I may have ordered 5 more skeins of pink. So if I end up doing a little project with some pink and the 2 skeins of white that I have over there because I've got tons left over, that could happen. That could legit happen. And I mean, you know, pink and white with centers of different colors to use up what's left, because I know I'm not going to use the 200-gram skeins in the other parts of the pattern. So I'll have leftovers of all the other colors. So basically I'm going to have enough for 2 full blankets is really what it's boiling down to, at least if my math is correct. And that's a massive if. That's a huge if. Because historically, mathings have not been correct. So what I was going to do is once we start the blanket, I'm actually going to do some weighing as I go so that I can write down how much yarn I'm using per row. Because with my test, I did it as like mug rug size testings. So I had to work it out based on, you know, how many stitches versus how many were actually in the repeats. I had to do lots of math, and it made my eyes hurt and my head hurt, and I heard my year 10 maths teacher giggling at me in my brain. Oh, Artsog. Yeah, I think so too, Freaky. Artsog is clearly excited. Oh dear. Oh, Murray's posted something over in the fun zone. If you have no idea what the fun zone is, you need to go and check that out. The Fiberific fun zone is where you guys get to hang out after the live streams. So, we start these great conversations and we have such a good time. Why let it end when the live stream ends? You can continue it on over there and you can share and talk about, your projects that you're working on and all that sort of fun stuff. Okay, I don't think I could get an extra row out of that. Interesting. Next color is gorse. Go over there, things. You're in my way. Is this one gorse? Yes, this is gorse. So there's still like tons of that left, but a couple of rows of granny squares, and let's see what actually happens. I like to just start them on different corners so that when I'm weaving in the ends later, it's not all like big hard corner and the rest is soft. I like to balance it out. Oops, that's a very long tail. Let's fix this tail issue. There we go. That's more, I like it. Oh, Sally's popped in a link for the fun zone. Thank you, Sally. Love it. Love it. So if you're not a member over at the fun zone, join up and become a member. It's free. It's totally fun and free. We just have a no self-promo rule. There's a couple of questions on your way in. They're very difficult. Like, do you like yarn? They're very hard. And then you can jump in and just have a good time and keep chatting with people and post photos of what you're working on, things like that. I do have an ask. I'm assuming that most of you that are here that have made it this far in the live stream have subscribed to this channel. As we speak right now, I'm going to double check it because, it could have changed during the stream. So I'm just going to double check. Yes. As of right this second, we are 6 subscribers short of 6,000 here on this channel. And while I try not to focus too hard on the numbers, I do like round numbers. And I would love to hit that 6,000 sometime soon. So if you have not yet subscribed, please click that subscribe button. Or if you are subscribed and you can think of somebody else who would like to hang out or like to watch this content, invite them to subscribe. So I would love that. We are so close to 6,000, which is more than I thought we'd ever get over here on basically a live streaming channel. And I'm very, very happy for it. When I start the blanket, I think I'll do the Gamer Widows idea with rolling an 8. What was Gamer Widows' idea with rolling an 8? I can't remember. There was a few ideas all bandied about at the same time. Leanne says, yes, please share all of the things over on the fun zone. I love seeing all of the makes and all of your news. Absolutely. We get to see, like, I get to see what you're working on. You guys get to see what I'm working on every week, but I don't get to see what you're working on. So the fun zone is where I go to check out what you're doing. So please pop your posts in over there so we can have a look. Oh, count back 4 rows for the next color. Oh, that's an interesting way to do it too. Absolutely. Artog said, I'll have to cajole and coerce the ladies in the local craft group to subscribe. I would appreciate that. I really would. And Megan is off. Have an awesome day. Thank you for coming in and joining the fun, and we'll see you next week. I'm going to keep going here on this gorse color. This gorse color does make me think of a different color name. That, it works. It matches this tonally, but this would be one of those colors that would end up in my dread stash, where I'd look at it going, oh man, what am I going to use this for? But then it looks perfect. Like, look at it there against the perfect. It works. But if it was sitting like this in my stash, it would be in the dread stash for sure. So sometimes using our dread colors with other colors is awesome. Oh, Nettie has a good point. Don't forget to thumbs up on the chat if you're here as well. Oh, yeah, there's 27 likes and 38 people watching. That's not balanced. Good job, Nettie. I didn't even notice. Thank you for the reminder. Oops, there we go. Oh, Angela, that's really kind of you to do that. More people need to know of your awesomeness. I am awesome. No, I'm kidding. I really do appreciate you sharing that. And if you know, I think it's also fun when you can have some of your own friends here as well, so you can real life bag me out like to each other and be like, oh, can you believe she said that? Like, oh, why does she do it that way? But you get to have like real life conversations as well, or other conversations in other groups. I think it's wonderful to share, and I appreciate it when you guys share my stuff as well. I definitely do. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to make some little videos this week on how we're going to work the game. So make just a little short, and I've got to make some extra graphics and all the little things that I want to do, and then it'll all be ready for next week. So if you want to go shopping and get your colors, or go dumpster diving through your stash and pull out your colors, get everything all laid out and ready so that next week we can crochet. Now, I will be making a single bed version that's short. Like I'm making an oversized throw is what I'm making. But you need to sit down and maybe do a little test swatch if you want to work it out, or if you're just going to wing it. Like especially if you've used a lot of red heart, you'll know how many stitches you need to get to the right size of blanket that you want to get to. But yeah, have a little play, work out what you want to do, work out what size you want to go, because I'll be working on a 207 stitch cast on, which is basically 200 stitches for the working section. I think that's what I worked out. Oh yeah, Philip can give it and he can take it. He's good at bagging people out. He cracks me up. Philip's good value. I'm glad to hear he's still up there. But I will try and get there another time, or I might even just come down to Spinners one week and just come and hang out, because you guys aren't too far. I've been down to Spinners down there a couple of times before. Done all the shopping. My card is crying. Oh no, Sandy. I hope we're going to make an awesome blanket. We're going to do it together. And then your credit card may still be sad, but you'll be happy. So yeah. Bye, Freaky. Have an awesome one, and we'll catch you next time. But yeah, it's I'm just looking at the time. You guys didn't tell me it was after 12. What were you going to do? Like, let me finish the entire round that's going to take 1,000,000 years? You're just going to let me go, weren't you? You're just going to let me keep going and going and going and going. I'm going to get to the corner. I'm nearly at a corner, so I'm going to get to the corner, and then we're going to go. And that's all that matters. Me happy, that is. I agree. I think that should be our goal in life, to make ourselves happy. Obviously not at the expense of other people, but I think that that if we can aim towards happiness, that makes a big difference than aiming towards other things. So by the way, it's after 12. You guys are the worst. Honestly, it's after 12. After I've already said it's after 12. You all fail. That's a fail for you all. Holly's like, I'm winding yarn. I didn't even notice the time. Like, fair enough. You're doing stuff. We're probably all doing stuff. Francis says it's after 1 here. Oh, yes. The southern states daylight saving will be over soon. Yay. I'll be so happy when you all come back to normal time. I'll welcome you all back to standard clocking. So, yay. Vampire says 11 more rows to go on the dino blanket before I start the border. That is awesome. Nefarious giggling. You guys are the worst. And then US starts on Sunday. Yeah, I know. Like, you're going to have to work out the time zones. I don't know how it's going to work for you all. Oh, so does that mean, Ruth? So if it's after 9 p.m. for you now in the States, does that mean it's going to be 8 p.m. for you next week or when it changes? Or is it going to be 10 p.m.? Yeah, good job, you. Good job. Yeah. So I'm going to wait around for this answer. Yeah, look, the reality is we do go a little bit over most weeks, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I like to respect your time. Okay. Angela says it's going to be 10. Oh, it's going to be 10 p.m. That's quite late. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But I mean, that means that you can start after you've done dinner, you've done the dinner dishes, you sit down, you put your feet up or yell at somebody else to do the dishes, whatever it is that you do in your house. And then you can chill. But it is quite late if it's a work night. Anyway, guys, ladies, it has been amazing and awesome having you all here. It is time to say goodbye yet again, just for a week. Next week it's game day. Game day next week. We're going to start the new project. So get all your stuff ready. It's going to be exciting. I'm so thrilled. And I will chat more to you all next week. Don't forget, I'll be in and out over in the fun zone. So come and say hi over there. Drop photos of what you're working on over there. I love to see it all. I give you all little love hearts. And I will catch you all next time. Bye now.